It's a dangerous way to make a quick cash. Thieves targeting local sporting clubs to steal copper wire. It's leaving kids in the dark, pulling the plug on community sport.
Why would you do it? Think of us who has to train like this.
We got 44 lights and it took out all of them.
We're looking at about $100,000 to replace the damage that's been done here.
Crooks cutting the cord on community sport. And this is what they're after, copper cable. Tonight, the lengths these thieves go to get their hands on it. It's soccer training at Mitchelton Football Club in Brisbane, and it's also lights out.
The lights aren't working, so we can't do our training for the finals or anything.
Robbing young players of their football dreams and leaving clubs to foot the massive repair bill.
3.2 kilometres now, which is roughly 3.5 tonnes worth of copper that's been pulled out of the ground.
The club had just forked out $250,000 for new lights, only for President Rowan Hill to discover they'd been plunged into darkness.
We found out when we tried to turn lights on for training one night and they weren't working, which was a surprise given they were only 6 weeks old. And then a bit of investigation led to empty pits.
We'd just been celebrating that we'd got these lights on the fields and they've taken them from us, yeah.
Police say on the black market it's a prized metal, fetching around $13 a kilogram.
It's an organised job. You couldn't do it just by hand with a couple of guys. You're talking 5 or 6 people, 3 or 4 hours worth of work.
Well, there's certainly been an increase in it and probably more brazen and more public.
Detective Senior Constable Michael Lerner is spearheading a copper theft task force in Queensland.
It's very dangerous. We have people who are cutting live power. It's dangerous for them. It's dangerous for the first responders who have to attend to it.
Mitchelton Football Club is already down 4 football fields. The grounds left ravaged by last year's floods. Now the 2 remaining pitches are in the dark with a 6-figure repair bill. Club spokesman Troy Cravagan.
It's not just the copper being stolen, it's not just the infrastructure being stolen, it's the fact that we're a club run by volunteers.
It's gutting. This was the first major step forward our club's made in the best part of 3 or 4 years. There are kids who may not even be able to train for the finals they've worked all year for because we just can't give them a lit field to train on.
Jade Ellis is now one of 80 kids at the club with their finals chances at stake.
Getting to finals, we put in so much effort, we put our bodies on the line, and now we're going through this. So I guess it's just like another chapter for the club to get through.
And we've actually now been forced to put a private security guard on site overnight every night, which is, again, comes at a cost to the club.
Half an hour up the road, Narangba Baseball Club has also been caught in the copper crisis.
Unfortunately, the thieves got in and pulled it out through the pits, which is why these blocks are here.
These 2 masked bandits scour the field after dark with torches until they find the electrical outlet.
And so you've got a couple of lights here. How many did it knock out?
The whole lot, yeah. 140 kids were out of action for a week.
They've been hit so many times, President Chris Clifton is refusing to put copper back in.
And it's not going to stop it, it may deter them, but as soon as they open the pits and see that it's, aluminium, they're not going to get anywhere near as much for it.
Next door at the football club, they've been robbed up to 5 kilometres of copper, even with lockable lids. They too put aluminium in, and despite a sign, the thieves came back and checked anyway, cutting the cables to make sure doing the damage again, then leaving it alone.
At the moment, we've got about $300,000 worth of damage.
Moreton Bay Mayor Peter Flannery says council has also fallen victim.
Criminals look for easy dollars to make. This is an easy target. They can pull the copper out of the ground. They get cash for it, so there's no record of it all, where they're taking copper cabling out of street lighting, schools, train stations.
So thieves are dressing up as tradies and stealing in broad daylight.
In workers' uniforms, witches' hats, high-vis. They look like real fair income electrical contractors working there on the streets, but they're actually stealing the copper.
Here's copper crooks sneaking around power station depots, climbing onto crew trucks to find cable, even filling up their ute with reels. Police have responded to a surge in thefts at energy providers. Calling in the dog squad, they tackled a man to the ground. Everywhere across Australia, it's illegal to sell copper without at least ID or a paper trail to show where you got it from. Except in Queensland, which has thieves coming here to sell their loot on the cash market.
Committing these indictable offences, stealing copper, there are penalties in excess of 14 years, maximums in prison.
Meanwhile, community clubs suffer.
I don't know how much more we can really cop of this.
Just stop.